Announce.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where we are joining us from tonight or today, as the case may be. This is DEKEMP USA Pre-Departure Orientation 2024, and it's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of us to this great occasion. My name is Isaac Ubogo, and I'm one of the co-hosts. With me here today is my boss, Ikenna. Ikenna, please, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Hello. Well, I said, I'm trying to remember my Spanish lessons. I've forgotten what good afternoon is again. But good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone that joined this session. It's kind of pretty great to see everyone come here to kind of learn one or two from what the speakers are about to say. And we started this process for a while now, and this stage is the time of pack your bag and go. So I'm great you're all here, and I believe our speakers has a lot to share with us.
All right. So I'll quickly run through the order of program that we have. We have the DEKEMP anthem as the first thing that we'll be taking. That will be followed by a welcome speech by our mentor, Dr. Kelechukwu Omokamike, who is the reason behind the DEKEMP today. Without him, I think there will be no DEKEMP pre-departure orientation to the US. So we are going to give him an opportunity to say something. After that, we will go to the introduction of our speakers. Then we'll have different sections, section 1, section 2, 3, 4, 5, on different items, food and items to pack, travel and POE experience, housing and accommodation, culture shock and networking, employment-based opportunity, immigration opportunities. We have Q&A, question and answer, and then vote of thanks with the concluding remarks. This is the order of program that we'll be following today. Some of my speakers are having issues joining, so I'm going to go back to them in a moment. But before then,
yes, I see Judy and Rebecca are trying to join.
Yeah, they are trying to join. So I'm going to play the DEKEMP anthem for us to start with. Can we hear it?
No.
Check your sound.
I think you have to choose share with sound.
Share with sound. Check your sound.
Okay. Is it okay now?
No, I can't hear anything. No.
Can you send it to me?
We can hear, right?
No.
Okay. If someone has like Dr. T or IK, you can share. Let me quickly try to bring the other speaker on board. Judith is calling.
Dr. T, do you have access to the file? When you share, just click this in a...
yeah, I'll do that. Let me try to bring Judith on
click
board.
Share sound when you look at layouts.
Okay.
What I have is a video of the DEKEMP anthem with the campus pictures, but we need audio right now. So let's think.
If that can still work, since the audio is not coming up.
Okay, let me do that. Give me a minute. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
DEKEMP is a great family of trust, love, and excellence. of oneness, togetherness, in all that we do. We aim to achieve great success through process when I learn to make our works much more better. Yes, process over results. Empires, resourceful people who support each other, knowing that till we all win, we are working progress. Yes, we will achieve great success. Thanks for me, Kelechi, who founded this noble group. Lord, please make us all winners.
All right, thank you so much. That is the camp anthem for those who are not Kempites, and even for Kempites. At the beginning of all our events, we always sing it. Kempites are wonderful people, and it's a pleasure to be the host for today. I'm going to give this opportunity to our mentor, Dr. Kelechukwu Omokamike, to respond briefly to how the US visa group came about, but to just give him a reminder of this team. Isaac is not the only person working here. My boss, Ikenna, is here. We've been working together for 3 consecutive years now. 2022, we have more than 25 people that got their US visa. 2023, the same thing, and we organized the same PDO. And here we are again. And in the team for 2024, we have Chinenye, who has been really, really very supportive. We have Shekoni Comfort, who has really, really been very supportive. We also have Jerry. Jerry has been very supportive, especially on Wednesday. So we kind of divide the work between ourselves this time around to make it much more easier for ourselves. So I believe he's going to comment and appreciate everybody because we have come a very long way, right from March when Kempai started getting their US offer. We started with the first person, and today we're almost at number 20. So it can only be God. We appreciate God for the opportunity to be of support to those who have been coming. And in this section, we particularly decide that our PDO should be open to the public. So both Kempite and non-Kempite are here. And we have speakers from 5 different states coming to talk to us today. So Dr. Kelechukwu, over to you before we introduce the speakers we have for today. Thank you.
Hello, guys, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
So no, let me start by saying that it's always a pleasure to see how far we have come, right? I always say consistency is the true test of value. And we have done this for 3 years consecutively. And for those that are not aware, this process did not start now, right? This starts from when Kempites are getting their US scholarship, and then they have to go through the US visa process. And you have a team, Ikenna leading and really, really supported by Isaac, that spend considerable amount of time to prepare their fellow Kempites towards getting their US visas. And we have been hitting more or less 100% year over year. And so when we come together and you see many of the people in the audience also pass through the same process. So it's always nice to see them. I saw you were sharing the other flyers from the previous years. It's nice to see how the faces have kept changing, and to really show how we have been evolving. I think this is indeed beautiful. When we started around 5 years ago, all of us were in Nigeria. Literally, all my mentees were in Nigeria. And now to really see how much impact we have created in the past 5 years, honestly, it's humbling. And I always feel very privileged to be your first campite, to learn from you, to see how you're demonstrating this act of selflessness, and also using that time to create value, right? So you are not just preparing people from yesterday, you spend a lot of time to prepare, to know what is the new, to be able to make sure that we are getting a better chance at our visa application. So for the PDO, again, you're going to be listening to people that know what they are talking about. Of course, this is always the opportunity where, again, we extend the invitations to those that are not Kempites. Of course, joining Kempite or DEKEMP is quite a process. But so when it comes to something like PDO, similar to what we did for, we also did something similar for the US visa, right? Where we kind of we kind of created a session open to the public to get some relevant tips on how to prepare for their US visa application. So I'm so happy and looking forward to the content that you're going to share. And I hope that those that attend, and this is going to be recorded, we can also share that for those that are not able to attend. We had over 100 people that registered. So I know that either people will join later, or maybe we would need to send the link of the session to those that have registered in case they were not able to make it. So thank you, and keep demonstrating the values and culture that we want to keep growing in DEKEMP till we all win. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Casey. So I'm going to give this opportunity to my colleague, Ikenna, who's my boss, to introduce all the speakers we have from various institutions today.
I'll say thank you once again. I'm super grateful to have you doing all this stuff. I don't know how it's going to be if I was the one doing it all alone. Isaac, thank you. You've been really helpful. Dr. Casey, it's always a pleasure to have you as a mentor. I doff my hat. So let's go straight away. We have listen, great persons that want to share their insights based on their experience and also the things they kind of gathered from listening to others. So we have Tosin. Tosin, you can kind of unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tosin Adewale, like Tosin for short. So I'm currently a second-year PhD student here at University of Buffalo, New York. And thank you for having me here, Ike and Isaac. Yeah.
Then we have the big bed, Wisdom.
Hi guys, my name is Wisdom. I'm the first year PhD student, actually second year like Tosin. Yeah, but I'm at Northwestern University, PhD in Civil and Environmental Engineering. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Okay, so one thing you should know that if a speaker kind of says that is in the location that you might be going, it's kind of cool to kind of DM to kind of ask how the city is like, and maybe you can get some accommodations tips from them. Then we have the big lady, Rebecca.
Rebecca, your mic is muted.
Yeah, mute.
Okay. Host, can you give Rebecca a chance to be a co-host? Because
I think you can unmute from your end. Just unmute her.
Yeah, I think I'll just make her a call so she can unmute herself subsequently.
Okay.
I'm trying to locate her on the call. I still can't locate her.
I've done that.
Raise up your hand?
Okay, I've been unable to unmute myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Olukayode, and I'm a master's student at Purdue University, currently on my second year, and I should be graduating in a week's time. So yeah, I'm glad to be here and to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations. You know, it's a double congratulations, but take it all at once. Yeah. Then we have James with us.
Hello, everybody. My name is James Okorocha. I'm a PhD student, Department of Geography, University of Nevada, Reno. By fall, I'll be in my third year. Thank you.
Congrats. The last but not the least is Judith. So Judith, unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I am Judith Wanyu. Sorry, I can't turn on the camera, and I hope my connection is good enough for me to have my section. Anyways, I am Judith and PhD student in chemistry at Texas Tech University, and thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be in this meeting today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction by our speaker. So we start with section 1, which is on food and items to pack while you are coming to the US. That is one of the questions people ask majorly. What are the things I should bring? What are the items I should bring? How should I pack them? And to take that section, we have Oluwatosin Adewale to take us for the next few minutes on that.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. Yeah, so I was given 10 minutes, very, very short, but I will make it worthwhile. So quickly, items to pack when coming to the US as international students. So first off, I'm going to say a very big congratulations on getting your admission, either master's, PhD, funded, not funded. Congratulations. Okay, so I remember I was in the PDO like around this time last year, and I was hearing from Isaac, Ghost Power, like Ike are talking. So from what I've learned and in my experience, so first things, I'm going to start using this approach. So stuff you're going to use to pack the items, I'll start with that. Number one, you need a backpack. Okay, so right here, you know what a backpack looks like your school bag that you take to school. You need that. Then you also need Ecolac box or whatever we call it. Like it depends on you, right? So your Ecolac box. If you're using Ghana Must Go, like no one really cares. But I'm going to tell you what I think is good based on my experience. So during my time, I had my backpack. I didn't take any other box on the plane, just my backpack. And then I had my two checked-in bags, one Ecolac box and another leather box. And I remember clearly the other box, the tire broke before even landing here in New York. It was really terrible for me. So I wish I had like 2 boxes that were just firm and strong. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I do not think you really need any extra luggage. You don't need to use your money. You don't need to use $200 to get any extra baggage or luggage. I don't think it's worth it. But it also depends on your situation. So first things first, what do you need to pack when coming here? Number one, your documents. They are the most important. Your documents. If you do not pack food, you don't pack anything, like you don't have any other thing, pack your documents. I mean your international passport, your I-20, your admission letter, your funding, your certificates. If you have master's, bachelor's, everything that makes you like on paper, pack every damn thing, put it in a bag like this, make it secure and firm, and then have it in your backpack, which means it has to be on the plane with you. So never checking any documents into the plane. It has to be in your backpack. Your backpack where you have your documents. Now, your electronics, your laptop and stuff like that, that are very important to you, have them in your backpack, okay? So remember, these things have to go on the plane with you. You don't want to get to POE and you cannot produce your I-20 or your passport or whatever. So make sure you pack all important documents in your bag like this, and then in your backpack. Your electronics, if you have a camera you use, your laptop charger, pack it. Also based on electronics, you want to get universal charger, something like this. And it's called universal charger because it can fit in anywhere. Like the US, we use usually stuff like this. Okay, so get a universal charger. You can get it like in many malls in Nigeria or Lagos, like wherever you are. You can have someone to Lagos to get it for you. So you want to get that. You want to get a power bank, okay? You may need it. I'm not saying like you can charge at the airport, on the plane, but you may need it. So all those stuffs, let them be in your backpack. Now, because we don't have much time, let's move further. The next thing is your clothing. So Don't pack too much stuff. You know, here in the US, we have like 4 seasons: winter, fall, and spring. So clothes are seasonal. You don't wear the same clothes all throughout the year. So if you get too many clothes here, by the time we're approaching fall and entering like winter, those clothes, you're going to like retire them somewhere and get jacket and stuff like that. So don't pack too many clothes. You're a guy, have your pants, your jeans and stuff like that, your tops, corporate shirt you can get to. Like, there's no really hard rules to this, okay? Just make sure you don't overpack stuff. For ladies, you know what to do. Pack clothes, but don't pack too much. You're going to get all those stuffs here when you settle in. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time on clothes because there's time for questions at the end of this call. So let's go to food, which is a very, very big issue for many people. Like, why should food be a problem for people? And it's funny I'm asking because I also had that issue. I was asking Ikena and Isaac last year, see, which food I go carry now? Waiting they happen, which food I go carry? So it all depends on what you eat. But note this, no matter what you pack, it's still going to finish here, right? So I'm still going back to, you don't want to pack too much stuff. The food you eat in Nigeria, pack them, but there's a way to pack them. Most of these foodstuffs have to be dried, okay? They have to be dried. So for example, if I share my screen and I show you a list of these foods, so if you can see my screen, Ike, can you see my screen?
Yes, can see it.
Yes, I can.
So, oh, let me go back there again. So yeah. So if you can see a list of these stuffs, egusi or bono, whatever, like I don't care. Nobody cares what you eat. So make sure those things do not have moisture, like they are not wet. Don't carry wet stuff. It's not allowed on the plane. Liquids or anything moist are not really allowed. Make sure all these food items are dried. If you are taking leaves, you're the person you want to like take bitter leaf and stuff like that, make sure they are all dried. Like make sure your stuffs are dried. You don't want to eat at the POE and then you waste your money on your food. Okay, you can pack meat, make sure it is dried. If you're taking fish, stockfish or whatever, make sure it is well dried. Like I'm telling you this from experience. If you're taking, so this is just a list. You can have other stuff you want to carry. Make sure they're dried. Don't carry any liquid item. Some people say they've carried oil into the US and they were successful. Well, yes, you don't know what your experience is going to be. Okay, but I'm not going to follow that. Let's follow what is actually right. So you don't like be in a dicey situation. So take stuff like this, ensure they are dried, well dried, and so you'll be rest assured. When you get here, there are African stores. Wherever like the states you come to, there are African stores. Later when you settle in, you can buy more on all this stuff. So I'm not going to forget, how do you actually pack all these food items? So for example, I have here some ingredients. You want to use a Ziploc bag that you can easily tighten and seal the mouth. Ziploc bag. Okay, they're very easy to get around wherever you are, like in Nigeria, in Lagos. Get them and try labeling the items you have in this Ziploc bag. Yes, I would say try labeling that. So for example, this is crayfish that I see brought. I still have much left. Crayfish and other stuff, well dried and in a Ziploc bag and sealed. Okay. By the time you put all these stuffs in your check-in bag, it's not really going to smell easily. It will be secure for you. It's going to make your journey easier. Okay. So many other things that you need to do, but I'm telling you the most important stuff: your documents, your clothing, your food. Every other thing aside those items, I do not see how they can fit in, like except like it's your personal stuff. So those are what is constant to everybody. Now, the next thing, medicine. You are going on a long haul flight. If you're not taking a direct flight to the US, you may be taking like 2 flights. So for my own time, I went first to Frankfurt. From Frankfurt, I came to JFK, New York. So make sure you have medicine. When I mean medicine, I mean like general medicine. Okay. So you want to have like analgesic or stuff like that, maybe a pain reliever for headache. Some of us, after like having our long flights, you may be waiting for your stopover. You may be having some headache. You just want to take some aspirin or like some paracetamol or whatever. Have something for your stomach. If you have a sensitive stomach, maybe you have something on the flight and you're not really cool with it. If you land wherever, like you can use those stuff. So don't take medicines. Don't take specialized medicine except you have the doctor's prescription. Okay, so you have to be sure about that. So take medicines, very, very important. So what else again? Cash. Cash. So you don't want to pack 100,000 naira and put it in your bag and come to the US. That money is not going to do anything for you here. Just convert it to dollars. Okay, convert all your cash to dollars before coming here. I heard a rumor. They said in Nigeria, your dollars you can get stolen if you don't put it in a black nylon and stuff like that. People are funny, right? So I don't really care about that. Just make sure you secure your dollars very well before leaving Nigeria. Okay, keep it in a safe place. If you are asking about how much to carry, that would be a nice question to ask maybe someone in your area, but carry enough cash you know you're going to need to settle in here. If you need to take a cab when you get to your place, when you land, you need to have that money. If you need to pay your rent when you get here, have that money. So it's about calculation. There is no specific answer to anybody, but carry enough cash, enough money. Okay. So if you want to take $200, you know you can get $200. If you can take $500, if you can take $1,000, fine. But there's a limit to how much cash you carry. Don't carry $10,000 and come here as a PhD student. Please do not. Don't carry too much cash. It's going to bring, you're going to get attention. Like they're going to sit you down and say, what's going on? Okay, so take money, but don't take too much money. Every other thing can be your account. So I think I've covered most of these things that we need to hear. And if there's any other thing like stationaries, just get few pens and stuff like that. You can get stuff like that here. If they're expensive because you're spending dollar now, not naira, take some few stationaries. Take at least maybe 2 books, like exercise books that you can be writing once you resume classes and stuff like that. And every other thing you can balance it up. Okay, so I'm going to add to this. Don't take any very expensive item. It can get stolen. It can get broken. Very expensive item, I don't think you need to take them, except it's a gadget you use, like very important for your work or any stuff you do, then you take it. But make sure you hold it well because stuff gets stolen at the airport. Bags get like unlocked. So if you're taking your backpack, your checking bag, make sure you lock them. I don't think I've shown you the epilogue box I carried. So it's right here. We don't have much time to explore those things that I carried. Make sure you secure all your stuffs. Bags actually get missing. They don't even see some people's checking bags, but they say with the airlines actually deal with that. So that's why I said your documents, the most important things in your life, like let them be in your backpack, well secured. So they're always with you wherever you go. Okay. I think with that, I've covered at least superficially most of the things you need. Like if you need to carry shoes, yes, carry shoes. Don't carry 5 shoes. Okay. Take just few pairs of shoes. Everything you need to do to look good, just take it, but in minimal level, because you can always stop up when you settle in here. IK, I think I'm done. So if you have any other questions, they can ask later. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tosin. I'd like to kind of add a few important stuff that are kind of something we need to know. So when you're packing your documents, I'm using a split screen, so I kind of trying to look not right to my camera. So please understand. So when you're packing your document, ensure you have a scanned copy. Those documents you are going to pack in your clear bag, like Tosin showed us. Use your phone, download a scanner, scan it, and maybe scan it and save to your drive. Please, it's very important. Have a digital copy for every hard copy you have. Not just your documents that are using to come from Nigeria, even here in the States. Whenever you have it, maybe you get your driver's license, take a picture of it. You have your other thing, you got, I don't know, not married, like whatever it is. You got your visa, whatever, make a copy. And one thing you should also add as you're adding your document is your birth certificate. Please, it's very important because when you come to the States, you get to a time you want to renew your passport because the Nigerian passport is 5 years. So ensure you are coming with your birth certificate, and the application for that passport, you need your birth certificate. Please add it to your document. It's very important. Then for the bag, like Tosin said, as you have your check-in, ensure you have your carry-on. That is the smaller bag. Apart from your normal laptop bag, have that small bus. Because when you come to the States, there'll be time you want to travel. So let's say you've missed me so much. I know those are beautiful ladies that have missed me and you want to come. You will need those bus to kind of pack your stuff. Buying bus here is spending money that you might not want to. So ensure you get that bus from the country when you're coming. So I think it's the smaller, I can't remember the dimension. Just it is called this in the carry-on. Those are the bags that goes to the plane with your laptop bag. It's very important. Then this thing, if you are going with other drugs, like Tosin said, a specialized drug, ensure you have prescription. I think that's all. Then for the document Tosin shared, I dropped a screenshot on the chat. So there was things he kind of used a red ink to write. So those red inks are kind of dicey. I would say I wouldn't use that. Just don't go with them. It's risky. So take those ones out and go with the stuff with black ink. Whatever it is, you can buy it here. They are not expensive. They are not expensive, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tosin, for that wonderful presentation. And thank you, Ike, for that wonderful addition. Do we have any of our speakers because that want to add to these items of food to pack and how to pack?
Yeah, I want to add something. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Tosin. Thank you, Ikenna. I want to add something that worked for me. I did not carry an Ecolac bag. An empty Ecolac bag is about 2 kg already gone. An empty Ecolac bag is already some kg gone. So I carried a leather bag that is less than 1 kg as empty. That is what I wanted to add. Then, in addition to that, when you check in your bag, after they give you that tag, take a picture of that bag with the tag very visible. It will help when there is baggage issues. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right. I remember someone that actually arrived US without her bag for like 4 days. The company was already in the process of paying her. If they lose your bag, they will pay you a huge amount of money before they eventually saw it. So taking a picture like your advice will really, really be very helpful. So thank you so much for that. Okay, because of time factor, we'll be moving to section 2, which is on the travel and point of entry experience. Remember that the visa you have can only grant you access to the point of entry, like the border, the airport, seaport, but I believe nobody is coming through water, so I believe we will all get into the airport. When you get to the airport, you will have a place called point of entry. US CIS custom has to attend to you, check your documents. So to take us further on that aspect, we have Judith. Judith, can you unmute now and talk to us on this? Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tosin. That was very detailed, and I think you touched a bit of the things that was, I know, more like part of the things that was also on my list about traveling. So I'll be talking on travel and point of entry experience. So I don't know how many of you, this will be your first time traveling outside Nigeria for the first time. So the first thing that comes to your mind is nervousness, or you're nervous, you maybe uncertain about so many details, and you're scared what if you miss a flight, what if you book the wrong flight. I would like to start with this. Calm down, try to be calm. Yes, it's a lot. There's a lot of details. There's a lot of things to do, but I tell you, if you're not calm and patient, and you won't be able to pay attention to very fine details. So first, I want to start with flights and booking of your flights. Many of us when we want to travel, we first thing want to look at cheap flights based on your budget, which is good. But however, everything has its pros and cons. You need to pay attention to the fact that the flights you're looking at is passing through a country that may not require visa. So you need to go through countries that are open access. You can, for instance, if you have a flight that has to stop, if you're going to be stopping in a country, you ensure that that country does not require you to have their visa to get into the country, right? So you can know by asking questions and then making adequate research. Most international flights, particularly when coming to US, I know there are direct flights, but sometimes there's like 1 or 2 stops. you need to pay attention to your luggage. You need to pay attention to if if your bags will get to your final destination, or if at every point or every stop you need to get your bags. That is really important. You need to check when you're booking your flight how if those bags are getting to your final destination or you're going to get them. And if you're going to if you're having a carry-on, this is not like a rule, but I would say since the journey is long, try to carry just the important things like Tosin mentioned. Don't overload yourself since it's a carry-on, you have 3 or 4 bags, because you don't want to misplace anything, because at all points in times in the airport, you need to have those bags with you. It's not advisable to leave your bag. For instance, you're sitting down and you want to use the restroom, you leave your bag in the airport. That's not advisable. That's why you have to ensure that you're not taking so much to overwhelm yourself, and so you can keep adequate eyes on your bag. It's also very important at the airport when you're traveling that your bag is secured, means closed. Now we're in a world where anything can happen, right? So you don't want to leave any of your bag, your handbag, or your backpack open, and just to avoid anything slipping into your bag that you can account for. So ensure that your bag is tightly closed, is well secured, and always with you. Now now this is just the airports, and let's say Nigeria airport. Ensure you have all your documents, like Tosi said, your passport, your visa, your I-20, every single. Nigeria is funny, so you need to make sure every single document that was asked or that is stated to have, you have them, because you don't want to be taken by surprise. And of course, ensure you leave home on time because of traffic, depending on which airport you're going to, right? So you can get to the airport on time. And when you book your flight, pay attention to changes. Sometimes there could be a delay. There could be very long hours of delay, which could change your flight. So you need to pay attention to changes on your flight. And even when the airport, try not to sleep, because they can't be announcing your flight, and maybe you're dizzy or you're in your phone or distracted or something like that. So you need to pay attention to that. So while you travel, or while you're traveling, or let's say you're now midway, or let's say you're now in US, right? US airport, you ensure that, like also you mentioned previously, ensure that you don't have any liquid material or any liquid thing in your carry-on. It's not acceptable, even as little as water. They always check that. And as well, so when you're in US airports, you're going to be required to show your passport, your visa, and everything that identifies you. This is why it's important you have them secure with you, on your carry-on, so you can always have easy access to it. Most times when you have to take your bag, like I remember when my entry into the US, I had to check in my bag again. So they checked, yes, Dr. Casey just said the bags are usually 23 kg, yes, for per bags. So they check if you have dry stuffs, like you're not allowed to take anything fresh, so you need to have dry stuff. And they asked if you have any seed. I don't know if that has changed now, but they usually don't like you to take seeds, things that you need to plant. They feel you shouldn't take anything that you need to plant. So everything's supposed to be dried, and state everything you have in your bag to avoid any embarrassment. If you have, let's say you're supposed to stop at Germany before going to US, you need to pay attention to the information. Every airport has what's it called, a terminal. Pay attention to the terminal. It could also change. So you frequently you pay attention to the terminal you're going to use. And most times, some airports, even when you get to US, before you get to your final destination or your final state, you have to stop at a particular state in US. So you need to check that. You need to check when you get to the state in US, the terminal you're going to be using. Some airports are so big. Some terminals are like you need to take a train to another different place entirely to board the next plane. So you need to be conscious of that. You need to pay attention to that. And very importantly, it's not a crime to ask questions. It is not a crime to ask questions. So The first time I went, that was my first time coming to US. So I got lost with a lot of information that I couldn't even grasp at the time. But thank God I asked questions. And please ask questions to designated or security people, not random people. You look for somebody who is an airport security officer and ask question. Ensure you have all you ask the right. I mean, ask question and ensure the person understands your question, because communication can also be a barrier to getting the accurate answer you're looking for. Besides this, I don't think one should have much issue. Hence, you're students and you have your I-20, you have your admission letter, you have your passport and your valid visa. Usually, there is no like say any headache for students going if you have all this stated on and you follow all the rules you have to follow. So this is what I have for now. And if anyone has any addition, please feel free. Thank you.
All right, that is a wonderful one. Thank you so much, Judith, for that wonderful section on the travel and point of entry experience. She talks more about the travel experience. I wanted to add about the point of entry experience. When you arrive in the States at the point of entry, you will need to present your I-20, your visa, and maybe any other documents that they may need from you. Some point of entry are more strict than others, so you may not have the same experience in different airports, but there is nothing to worry about. But remember that if you arrive in the States with any incriminating maybe messages in your phone or stuff like that, you can be asked to return back. So we always advise ourselves that when you are coming, please stop telling your family members that once I get to the US, Otilo, I'm not coming back. If an immigration officer see that kind of message on your WhatsApp, because they have right to check your phones at the point of entry, most times they don't do that, but sometimes they do. If they do and see anything that can implicate you, you are on your own. So be very careful of your chat. In fact, we advise people, if you know that you have things like that, wipe your phone 2 weeks or so to your trip so that you will not have issues. Then reach out to people in your school. Someone else is going to talk about networking, so I'm not going to talk about that. Do we have anybody else that want to add anything on travel and point of entry experience? All right, I think that is it. So we'll move to section 3 for today. In section 3, we have Rebecca talk to us on housing and accommodation. So Rebecca, can you unmute yourself? How do we go about housing and accommodation in the US?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Isaac. I'll take it from here. I want to, first of all, thank Dr. Kelechi for this wonderful opportunity to speak with you all today. So I'll be talking about housing and accommodation. I know by this time, majority of you guys would have had your housing and accommodation sorted out, but I know, like, if you are not in that category, if you are still yet to have your housing sorted out, like the world, that does not mean that it's the end of the world. There's still opportunity for you to do that. So I'll be basically starting from scratch. I'll be talking to both those that have had their houses sorted out and those that are yet to. So first of all, the first thing you should think of when before you sign a lease is if the apartment is close to either your school or shopping complex where you can like buy groceries and stuff. So most times I advise people that are not mobile, that do not have cars, to rent apartments that are like either walkable distance from their building, like this to the school, or where there's like a transit, like there's a bus, like a bus that pass through at least maybe 3-4 minutes away from your apartment to your school. So that's a very important thing to look into when before signing a lease. And another important thing I want to point out is when you come to the US at first, sometimes the housing lease is kind of a bit complicated. Some apartments will be like, you will not be able to move into your apartment until like August 15th, some 16th, even some up to the end of August. And for most people, that is the time that their classes start. Speaking from experience, my classes, when I came in 2022, my classes started in August 15th, and my moving date was supposed to be August 15th. And obviously, if your class is to start on August 15th, you're supposed to be in the country way before August 15th. So what I advise most people is to reach out to like the Nigerian community in your school. Like Nigerians are everywhere in this country. You literally see a Nigerian in almost any school in the US. So you could reach these people via LinkedIn, or even in the DEKEMP group. If you're a campite, you could reach out to people that are in your school in the camp that could house you for a couple of days before you move into, before your apartment moving day, because most people go through the route of renting hotels or Airbnb for the time being. But I know not everybody is like that financially buoyant to rent Airbnb or hotel. So reach out to Nigerians in your school, or there are communities in every school that are very open, like church communities or religious communities that are usually very open to accommodating people for like the first 1 or 2 weeks before they move into their apartment. So that will save you a lot of cost if you do that. So the next thing I'll talk about is when you move into your apartment, there are some things you need to have in mind. The first thing you need to do when you move into an apartment is to do like a moving inspection where you snap the apartment as it was at the time you are moving in. So that's something you should not forget to do. The day you move into your apartment, make sure you snap every single part of the house, the bathroom, the room, the sitting room, everywhere. So you document this. Some apartments require you to send them the picture, so they'll have it too. But if your apartment does not require that, it's good to document it, have it on your phone, save it somewhere, so that when you're moving out, in case the apartment is not trying to blame you for spoiling a thing or two, you could tell them that, okay, I have a picture proof, so this particular damage was here as at the time I came in. Because if you don't have this proof, there's a high chance that the apartment will want to charge you for the damage that you did not cause. So that's something very important you should have in mind. Another thing you should have in mind is the fact that you are paying for the house rent doesn't mean you have the right to mess up the house and treat the house just anyhow. If you mess up an apartment in the US, you are going to pay for it. There's consequences to not taking care of the apartment. So take care of your apartment as if it were your house, like as if you bought this house and it's for you, right? Take care of the apartment, make sure you don't damage things, be a responsible person in the apartment, because any damage you make, you're going to pay for it. These apartment people, they have access to your social security number. When you come to the US, you have a thing called social security. They have access to this. So if you damage anything, they could pull money from your account, or they could flag your name. You will not be able to get in your apartment anyway if you are willing to pay for the damages. So make sure you take care of the apartment as if it were yours. And also, in a case where there's like maybe wear and tear in the apartment, maybe the fans suddenly stop working, or maybe your microwave stopped working, it's best to regularly put in maintenance service notice to notify the apartment that, okay, so and so is not right, is not okay in the apartment, so they can send the maintenance guys to fix it up. So regularly checking your apartment, if there's anything wrong anywhere, put in a maintenance request and have them fix it. Don't allow the damage to pile up and pile up and pile up, and something that is like a little bit of damage could become worse over time if you don't fix it right, and eventually you might have to pay for that damage. So if you notice anything wrong in the apartment as you stay, maybe due to wear and tear, it's best to put in a maintenance request so they could fix it before it becomes something worse. Another important thing is to make sure you live peacefully with your roommates. There's a probability that you be paired, especially for those that will be living with people, right? There's a probability that you'll be paired with very annoying roommates, right? Roommates that will intentionally want to get on your bad side, right? Roommates that intentionally want to annoy you. So try as much as possible to live peacefully while maintaining boundaries, right? So try to, I know some people have anger issues, like venting and expressing anger and shouting will not really do you much good in this country. You have to be civil, and when you are expressing your emotions, do it in a very civil and polite way, right? So make sure or try as much as possible to just live peacefully with those that you paired with in the room and maintain boundaries, right? That doesn't mean you should allow people to step on you or to treat you like trash just because you're trying to maintain peace. But while you're trying to maintain peace, you should also set boundaries. And yeah. Yeah, another issue most Nigerians also have when it comes to the US is with the thermometer in the house. So if you are paired in a house with like an American or someone from Europe that are kind of used to like very cold temperatures, right? You might have issues. Like when I came to the US at first, my roommate, I had two white roommates. These people will literally put the thermometer at 65 degrees. It looked like what's happening? Like it will be very, very cold. I could hardly even concentrate, I could hardly read, I could hardly do anything because it was just so bad. You talk to them, they'll be like, it's not bad, 65 is the normal temperature. Like there were so many back and forth with this, right? So the advice I tell people is if you have roommates that are unwilling to like compromise or to meet at a midpoint like 70 or 75 degrees, it's better to just get like a space heater in your room. That will most likely increase the house utility, but to just avoid any quarrel or bad energy in the house, if your roommates are unwilling to compromise, then you have to help yourself so you will not die of cold in your own house. So that's something that would help. Yeah, if your roommates are unwilling to make compromise in that area. So this is all I have to say. These are like the major issues I faced when I got to the US, and I feel like so many other people in the US can relate to this. So the last thing I would say is just try as much as possible to live peacefully as much as you can. Try as much as possible to have your own stuff. I know this Nigerian community culture of, okay, if I don't have toothpaste, I'll beg my neighbor, please give me toothpaste. Or if I don't have blender, please borrow me your blender. Please, when you get to the US, try not to practice that. Try as much as possible to have your things, because if you borrow from somebody and the thing spoils, the person might buy the thing for $20, say you pay me $50 because you spoiled my thing, or just unnecessary disrespect over like little things you could easily buy, right? So try as much as possible to have your own stuff. Everything you know you need, try as much as possible to get them. There are some things you could share with the house if your roommates are kind of open to, like maybe vacuum cleaner or paper towels, those little things you can share. But even at that, if you can't afford yours and buy it for yourself, I advise you to go ahead and do it. So that's what I have to say when it comes to housing and accommodation. I hope you guys are able to like pick it or two from it, and I wish you all the very best on your relocation and a very great time here in the US. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rebecca. That's really, really well packed. It's always a beautiful, or always awesome listening to you. So I'll try to kind of chip one or two. Very, very important. So the US kind of use the Fahrenheit instead of Celsius. So when we talk about 65, we are looking at the Fahrenheit. So you should kind of know the conversion between 65-degree Fahrenheit to this in Celsius. So that will give you the mental picture of what Rebecca was kind of referring to. Then one thing you kind of want to add is about staying peacefully with your flatmate. Yes, people kind of vary. People characters can be nothing to write home about, but try to ensure you are at peace. For the aspect of shouting, when you raise your voice, there is a chance your neighbor is going to call the police. There's a good chance that your neighbor is going to call the police. I've seen that happen around me. Okay, I have some I have some flatmates, not me, not my apartment, but Every week, I don't know what's going on. The police just come circling around. Try everything possible to avoid having interaction with them because they might actually come for peacekeeping and something else escalates. You are an international student, so you try your best to be on the good side. Then one more thing is this thing, when looking for the apartment, there is going to be a trade-off between the amount of money you want to spend and how safe the environment is. I will tell you, your environment is very important. I know the first month or the first week you move to the States, you're still kind of conscious of, oh, for every dollar you have, you convert to Naira. They'll tell you, oh, house here is $700. You'll be like, oh, Naira trades at 1580. I'm going to multiply 1580 by 700. How can I give this man this thing 1.3 million Naira and enough money to ship a container? And then you go and rent an apartment of 400 in a den that you will never have peace. Please value your mental health. Ask people, what is it like living in that area? How close is it to the bus stop, like Rebecca said? Then how is it like during the winter? Your first winter will be like when you watch a Game of Thrones and they tell you winter is coming, you will feel it. So kind of ask, how is the area like during the winter? Can I actually walk to the bus stop? Do the bus actually come on time during the winter? Ask those questions before you start looking at the amount of money you want to spend. That's what I want to add for now.
Can I say something briefly? Okay. Hello. Okay, I want to add that for accommodation, for those of us that may not know, we have what we call furnished and unfurnished apartments, and not everybody may know. Can we hear me clearly? Hello?
Yes.
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 All right. Okay, so we have furnished and unfurnished apartments, and sometimes when you are moving to an apartment, you need to know the kind of apartment you are moving into. Because if you go to an unfurnished apartment, which is much more cheaper, you might need to buy beddings, you might need to buy furniture like tables, because that room is going to be an empty room when you get it. It might look so cheap, but you need to find out how much will it cost you, maybe if you want to buy beddings, if you want to buy table, chairs, and other furniture in your bedroom and your living room before you move in. Then when you move to a furnished apartment, your bed, your furniture, and everything you need will be in that room, but you'll be paying for them on a monthly basis. So make sure you ask questions around and know the kind of accommodation that you are signing a lease with. I just want to chip that in before we make progress. Thank you.
Let me kind of add something.
Okay.
When you're kind of moving, try and ask what are the free stuffs you can get. We have a lot of NGOs that give a lot of things for free. Maybe when you come to your school, you ask the Nigerian persons there, hey, my apartment is unfurnished, I need bed. Do this particular church give out beds, or is there any people that give all those kind of things? Try to ask before you buy.
Okay, let me add to what everybody has said. What I notice here is that for a lot of apartments, if you sign a lease and you expect 365 days stay in that house, you might be disappointed. You may not have the freedom to sign a lease on the 15th August and expect it to be active till 14th August next year. So you need to look critically into what you're signing so that you will be sure that you are happy with the termination date from beginning. Then another thing I have to say is I'm guessing most of the people on the call are Nigerians. We have this attitude of, I don't go even call police, I go sort the matter here with you. It is more of a strong man syndrome. This country, there is a lot of concealed and open carry. So you don't have such powers as an F1 student. And the one bullet, the story has changed. And it can happen. So please, it is not for the weak. Calling police is the right thing, or reporting to the authorities is the right thing. It's not a, get liver matter. If you use, there's something we say in Igbo, I can't get in a mother as I know. Person with hold knife and person with no hold knife, no the drag meat. Meat go full everywhere. So I beg, don't try to show say you pass them. Everybody get going right. Thank you.
All right. As Ikenna will be introducing the next speaker very shortly, I want to add that even though we have Q&A section at the end, it will not be out of place if we start asking some of our questions on the chat box so that we can manage our time. Some of the speakers that have already spoken can start answering those questions. I'm also here, anyone I can answer. Dr. Casey is also responding to some questions. That will save our time very well.
Rebecca, you can unmute. Hello, Rebecca, your hand is raised. You're mute. Oh, let me cut off. Can you find her and unmute?
Collins, can you help? I thought
No
you
worry.
make Rebecca.
I'm asking her to unmute.
Okay, so
She's
I was unable to unmute. So I just quickly want to add something about if in case you decide to rent a house that is unfurnished and maybe you're unable to get from those organizations that give free stuff. Another place you can get some like really cheap stuff is from Facebook Market. You can get people selling out stuff at a very discounted price. So just know that too. In case your apartment is unfurnished, Facebook Market is a very good place to get cheap furniture or anything you need at all. Yeah.
thank you so much. So we already had Tosin, we had Judith, we had Rebecca. Now what we have next in line is talk about the culture shock. So I'll kind of add this before we kind of introduce the speaker. Culture shock is something you're gonna experience anytime you leave a particular area to a new vicinity. Like say you're moving from Nigeria to America. Even in America, you're moving from Nebraska to Chicago, from Chicago to, you're gonna experience this every time. So going to summon wisdom to kind of unmute and share with us.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You can see my screen too, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, Isaac and Ikenna, Judith, Baker, and Tosin for your presentation. I'll be talking a little bit about culture shock and networking. My name is Wisdom, PhD student at Western University. I'll just like give us a little bit of context, just like Ikenna earlier mentioned. When you arrive here, maybe some of you will be coming in a couple of days or a week from now. So it is natural to experience, like certain form of disorientation and discomfort, because this is like because of the difference in maybe weather, maybe social norm, unfamiliar lifestyle, and yeah. So every day of your life will just be like trying to navigate a new route in your life, and once you find a balance, all of us here we face this culture shock when we got here. So that's why we're having this presentation to kind of like prepare your mind before you get here. Another important thing I would like to highlight is is that culture shock can impact your academic performance, your social interaction, and your overall well-being if it's not handled properly. So you need to be aware that this is going to happen to you, and you need to prepare your mind and try to get yourself ready and know how to navigate through these different stages. And there are like different stages in cultural shock, and each of the stages have like their own unique symptoms. I will quickly just give us a brief of different stages. We have like the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage is critically just like when you get here, feeling of excitement and all new culture, you're very enthusiastic. But you might also be having like some feeling of like curiosity and adventure. So you be feeling excited, but in a couple of minutes or maybe a couple of hours, you start seeing things are changing. You maybe start like when I got here, the first thing I experienced was when I came down from the plane, I was very cold. I was like, I'm not even here and I'm just cold, you know. So we also have like the distress, you know, like after the whole initial excitement wear off, you know, you start to face the reality of your new environment, you know, like you start to see the difference between your home and the new culture here. You know, some of these might lead to like frustration, confusion, can even be homesick, and most of the things you see here might just start like irritating you. The food might be irritating, the lifestyle of the people might be irritating, and stuff like that. So then we have the like adaptation or adjustment stage. And some of us are here right now. It's just like over time you begin to develop a balance, your new environment, you start to understand and adapt to the different cultures here, find way to navigate your daily life more effectively, kind of like your comfort increases and you try accepting things, you know, just the way they are. And the last stage is um, independence or the acceptance or mastery stage, where you're like fully adapted to the new culture, you feel more comfortable, you're confident in the new environment, and you can navigate it as well as you navigated your local, maybe back home, you know. I think people like Isaac and Ikenna should be here. So I would just share kind of my own personal experience, what happened to me when I got here and how I was able to navigate. And I'll just be talking a little bit about some of the social shock I had in the academic sector, the tipping and the PET and the PDA. You know. For the social, I think I had like both kind of like good and bad. It all started like when I enrolled in school. I go to class, I was sitting close to somebody, and after the class we exchanged phone number, we exchanged contact and stuff like that. And the next day when I went for the class again, I saw this guy and I was just like, hey, and he just looked at me and passed. You know, this is like something I've never experienced before, because back home we're like very social. You get to know what's happening in each other's business, but it is very different here. It's a very independent life. You need to understand that before you even move here, that it's very independent. People live like kind of private life. You know, you can't just go to a friend's house and knock at his door and say, oh, I'm just coming to check on you. I was passing and I thought I should just check on you. That is like kind of reaching into someone else's privacy or security. You know, they might even feel threatened if you come into their house unannounced, you know. So you also like need to know that even in your neighborhood, you could stay in a place that you can stay for. Maybe I've been here for a year now. I don't even know all my neighbors. You know, I just know like a couple of people I stay in the house here with, and some other African guys are living here. So the culture of like getting to know your neighbors, everybody in the street knowing you, seeing people you know and greeting them, is not like really what you experience when you come here. So you need to prepare your mind that it's more of like an individualistic lifestyle. You need to be independent and have to just understand. And also like they have like this culture of small talk, you know. Someone might just like not know you from anywhere before and they just bump into you and start saying things like, oh, I like your shoe, where did you get this? Where did you get this? And you need to like learn how to, you know, like get into this culture of like small talks, because most times you use these small talks to like, you know, start conversation. They have like little parties around, you know, like every time they are partying, you know, like back home we don't do this kind of parties. It was just like kind of surprising to me, like every day these guys are partying, you know. So then when I moved to like the say educational system, this was also like very shocking, because back home like professors and lecturers, like we can even like worship them, you know, like demigods or something. But here, like they are very, very open. They have like office hours, the doors are always open. You even have to call your professor by his name, because you can't call him a sir or a ma, because you don't know how they are being like addressed or something. You know, you need to like see somebody. The first you ask them, oh, what is your name? And when the person tells you, oh, this is my name, you stick to calling them by their name. You don't just bump into somebody and call a person sir or ma. You know, that is the person might be identifying as something else, and you're calling him, another pronoun or something. So the educational system here is like very, very transparent and very open. So you need to understand that if you need like help from the advisor, or you need help from a particular lecturer, you don't understand anything, feel free to walk into their office anytime and ask them questions, and they will sit you down and they explain it to you. You can do it over and over again until you understand that concept. This is not something I experienced back home. So when I got here, it was like a little bit shocking. I think in my first couple of months, I did not really benefit from that, because I was always like feeling shy, like going to meet a professor. When I saw other people doing it repeatedly, so I had to say, oh no, I have to also do this. Then another thing that is very shocking here that you need to know is like,
Can't hear anything. Am I the only one?
Yeah, same here. Wisdom.
Wisdom, we can't hear you.
from where? Can you guys
Wisdom.
hear me?
Okay,
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
You went off earlier.
Oh, really? What did you guys hear last?
The education aspect about
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. Yeah, so I was talking about the tipping culture here, which is like something I never experienced back home. I almost like got into a fight with somebody because I didn't know. I just went to a restaurant at East, and I saw this guy coming with a biro or something, and I also tip 18% of what I had, and I just like, what is this? Then I didn't tip. I was like, why am I tipping this guy so much? Almost $20. I just like, it got me into like very serious back and forth with the guy. I didn't have cash here because like, as we know, it's like kind of cashless policy. So I had to like learn, like you have to tip these guys. You have to tip if you're going to restaurant to eat. So you just need to prepare your mind. And you don't need to think of how much you're tipping them, because most times you don't even detect how much you're tipping them. It's based on what they're giving to you, and they could say, okay, 18% or 15% of what you're getting, you're tipping this. So it was also very shocking to me. Then about PET and PDA, this was also like a very shocking aspect to me when I got here. The PDA one is like, what I mean, PDA, public display of affection, is insane, like totally insane. I know, like back home, Christians and all, we don't really see people kissing in public, even if they are not married, especially like unmarried people and stuff like that. Here, people are kissing everywhere, kissing in the church, kissing in school, kissing everywhere. So when I got here, I was like, what is going on here? So it was shocking to me. In class, people coming with their boyfriend, holding hands, kissing, maybe after lecture and stuff like that. I didn't really find that like comfortable at first, but I just like, it's sort of their culture. You just have to accept it. And for the pets aspect, I also like want to mention that, because some of us back home, we used to have pets. Like I used to have a lot of pets back home. I know how I treat all my pets. I have like 4 dogs, and all of them, when this one dies or when I'm giving this one out, I get another one and I name the dog, maybe a name, maybe Bingo. So all my dogs are like Bingo. I don't need to know what breed is this dog and stuff like that. People take their pets here very serious, kind of like emotional support. So you need to learn how to respect people's pet. In fact, they can value their pet more than themselves. So you need to understand that, oh, this is someone's emotional support. So I didn't know this, and one lady just passed with a dog, and I was just standing at the door, and she started telling me, oh, this dog is so brick and stuff, telling me stuff I was not interested. I'm like, this dog is ugly. And that was a very big, she was like, she just flipped up on me, like, I didn't know. I know like you're supposed to, but I just like thought you could express your feelings toward something like that. If you see someone's pet, no matter how, they even come to meetings with it. So I'd be like, oh, my cat just got a degree in this, my dog just got a degree. Just say congratulations and stuff like that. So it's crazy how people respect their pet here. So it was kind of like shocking to me too, So it's something you need to keep in mind. You don't insult people dog, you don't insult people cat, no matter how ugly they are looking, beautiful dog and stuff like that. So um I also did like a quick survey. I thought maybe these things apply to only myself. So I want to like reach out to some of my friends that are here in the United States and also like ask them about like, so I had like a question, and I think my question was like, can you describe a specific experience or situation you felt cultural shock after moving to the US? So I think this first one is from Jerry, not Texas. And he was also like talking about like you have to eat before going to parties, because you can go to parties and you expect you're going to eat there and you can end up saying stuff like coffee stuff. We also like spoke about like professor people kissing in public. I also have one from Amit here talking about how people behave in classrooms, like it's a free life here. So you can actually like go to lunch, you can go to the classroom with your lunch and stuff like that. And it doesn't really matter, as long as you're getting the job done, doesn't matter if you're wearing shorts, or it doesn't matter if you're wearing trousers, if you're even walking half naked, like nobody cares. So I mean I could share this survey with Ikena or Isaac later, and like this is from someone from Missouri, still talking about the different educational system, and people keep smiling and people keep smiling, and sometimes you just like get confused, like it's just how things are here. And some states, funny enough, some states like Illinois here, drugs is legal. You could see people smoking on the train, see people kissing right in front, two men kissing right in front of you on the train. You just have to understand, okay, yeah, this is just how it works, and you have to respect um people's culture as well. This person is still talking about the tip system, 15 to 18%, and how expensive textbooks are here. Um, this is someone from University of Pittsburgh. Like, I think it's mostly in the same way. The people, they just say hi and pass. So you need to understand, like, people don't really care about how you feel down here. It's just like you do your job, you say hi, and that's all. You just need to. So after like all this survey here, we kind of like came up with like advice for people that are like coming in. So I think the major thing here is like you have to stay connected with people, because this place is very lonely, especially if you're like maybe a PhD student. You have to be locked into your research. Kind of very lonely here. You go to the lab, you come back home. You go to the lab, you come back home. Maybe only on Saturdays and Sundays, like when you have time to go out. So you have to stay connected with people. You need to connect with maybe join African or international student community to help you fit in. There's some like other Nigerian communities. So you have to like join those Nigerian community to help you fit in. You need to connect with people in your school as well. Another thing is like you need to prepare in advance. I mean, like being here already is like being prepared in advance, but you also like need to do some personal homework on your own. You need to dedicate a little bit of time to study about the location that you're going to. Like um James said, like how the like maybe the lease work. You need to understand what is legal and what is not legal. You just need to understand where you're going to, and how the culture, like their own aspect of culture, because sometimes things differ each day. So you also like need to engage and learn. You need to be ready to learn, have conversation with people. Like you need to have conversation with your seniors, people that have been here before you. You need to like, because you like working in their part. So you need to ask them questions. Anytime you're not sure about a certain thing, you need to just like have conversation with people, ask them, how did you navigate this? How do you navigate this? So you also have to be like free to showcase who you are, like because you're here now, it doesn't mean you don't have your unique self, right? You don't have your own culture. So in as much as you respecting their culture, you have to also like keep a balance of your own culture too, like keep your own culture in mind while adapting to a new culture. Respect the culture and the lifestyle of others, but you don't have to lose you don't have to lose your own culture. I think Tosin already like addressed the issue of food and other essentials, like don't come here feeling so excited about the food. After that first stage of excitement, you start seeing that this is not what you really want to eat in your life moving forward. So you need to bring your food along. You need to eat before going to parties, And that's why you need to like maintain connection with people back home, because just like I said, this is a very lonely place at the end of the day. Until you start making a lot of connections here, you need to maintain connection with people back home. So because you're traveling to the United States, you don't have to start cutting bridges with people, cutting connection with people you have back home. You'll be lonely as hell. Loneliness will kill you for here. So I think that is all I have about culture. I also want to go a little bit about connection. Just this picture is like your network. It's your network. You've heard that a million times. The connection you have with others, like you with other people, they can directly impact your life. They can directly impact your success in graduate school. They can directly impact your overall wealth in life and how you move forward. So you have to like be cautious about your connection. You take it very intentional. So these are like some of the tips I have for networking. We have like campus involvement. You need to like join student organization. You don't need to only join African organization. You don't need to only associate with Nigerians. You don't need to only join Nigerian. That is not networking. So you need to spread your tentacles. You need to join maybe graduate school organization or something. You need to go to church. You need to attend campus events. You get to talk to people. You get to learn the culture of small talks. You get to like, maybe if there's a chance of volunteering and getting involved, you can go ahead and do that. If they're like orientations, especially for some of you are coming in, if they're like orientation sections, workshop, social event that is being hosted by the department or something, you need to go. With that, you get to connect with people. There's like for academic networking, you need to connect with your professors, your advisor, not only your professors or advisor, you can also like connect with other advisors, other professors in the school, like just learning how to communicate with them, just talking to them randomly. If you have a problem, maybe a professor is teaching, say, continual mechanics or something, and you have a problem in continual mechanics, you can walk to the professor's office and say, okay, I was going through this. I don't really understand this part. Can you throw more light on this? And they'll be glad to help you out. You also need to engage in class and group projects. If you're naive, you don't really know how to speak in public, you need to learn how to engage in class and group project, because this is going to help you navigate those stages of cultural shock that I mentioned. So you don't want to stay in stage 1 or stage 2 for like 6 months. You have like a lot of catching up to do. So you need to navigate those stage fast. You need to engage in class group discussions. Also, you have to like also try to leverage on maybe alumni network for some of us that are here. You want to reach out to somebody that maybe finished from your lab or something, just to, you want to reach out to any Nigerian that is in your program or that have been in your program as well. You just try to leverage on alumni network. You can seek mentorship from anybody, be it LinkedIn, you can ask for that. Attend conferences. I don't have to like overemphasize the need for attending conferences. You need to attend conferences. You need to build network. So you can also like leverage on online and other network like LinkedIn. You can utilize social media. You stay proactive. You follow up on things. Unfortunately, not like everybody is very proactive when it comes to the social media, but you have to like try to utilize social media, stay proactive, because some of these platforms are the platforms that are going to like land you your first job after you left, you leave school. Then some of these conferences are like you meet maybe your employer when you're done with school and stuff like that. So that is all I have to say about.
Wow. That is a beautiful Can we use the reaction button to send emoji to all our speakers so far? Wisdom, that is awesome. A lot of people are cracking jokes in the chat box saying, since you have adapted, are you kissing in the public like others? So I know that is a rhetorical question. You will not want
Yeah.
to tell us if you kiss down since you have adapted. But that is to say that people are really following and they are benefiting. Tosin Hansen is up, so I'm going to allow him to maybe chip in one or two things before we make progress.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. Wisdom, nice one. Thank you for that. So I wanted to like chip in two things. So it's 2024, right? So it turns out like the time you guys are coming to US, like it's the election time, right? So November this year, like the election. So please, I'm begging you, for Christ's sakes, once you get here from the airport or wherever, please, there's no need like talking about politics with anyone. You may be on the plane, and when you land or during your stopover somewhere here, and someone is telling you about Biden stepping down, whatever, like just tell them you're new here. Like, do like you don't know anything, okay? Just for your safety, please and please don't get into any political talk right now with anyone. Then, secondly, don't let anything like shock you when you come here. So if you see, for instance, a person that looks like a guy wearing pump shot and stuff like that next to you, you're going to see them. Do not stare at them. Like there's something we Africans usually do. Like sometimes if you want to show your disapproval of something by looking at someone in the kind of way, please never do that yet. Wherever you see them next to you, if they say hi, say hello, don't look at them in a way that they notice that you're looking at them or staring at them. It can bring out something and like eat you or like so just be safe. Like don't say anything, just say hello, like just be safe. That's what I wanted to tell us. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. For the sake of time, we will be making progress to the last section, which is section 5, except there's something someone wants to chip in.
So before we kind of go to the last speaker, I would like to kind of sum some things up. Please ask questions. For whatever reason, ask question. For every document you are given, read everything. We have these issues in back home. We hardly read terms and conditions. You know, when you give you a document, it's kind of a bit lengthy. You won't even read to kind of, you just sign and move on. Ask whatever document, what it's all about, read to understand. So what I'm kind of referring to this is like when it comes to tip, you go to a restaurant, even maybe it's kind of displayed somewhere, you're supposed to like kind of known. You can even ask before you order anything. Is tip mandatory? Some restaurants make it fixed, some make it optional. Even when you order things from Uber Eats or DoorDash, you kind of have to tip. Even when you even enter a ride with Uber, tip. But if you check, apart from the fixed percentage you pay, there's a section called custom. You can click on the custom and adjust it to suit whatever you have. You don't have to always stick with a fixed percentage. And I know we have this attitude of Holy Ghost fire, God forbid. In a way, you kind of see some things that don't align with your belief. Please remember to mind your business. I will kind of speak pidgin now. Life not ahead. Mind yourself. Focus on what brought you here and get your degree and move on.
All right, thank you so much for that addition. Can we do thumb up to the four speakers that have spoken to us so far? We have heard from Tosin, we have heard from Judith, we have heard from Rebecca and Wisdom. Can we give them love emoji if you are following and enjoying this section? Give them thumb up. Wow, I can see a lot of beautiful emojis flying all around. That is good, that is good, that is good. We are also moving to section 5, which is another interesting section, which I believe everyone will be interested. We all know most of the people I guided to get visa, they keep telling me they want to come back to Nigeria to build Nigeria. We will see to that. If you will keep to what you told the VO or the US Embassy, if you really want to come back and help Nigeria. But you and I know that most of you don't want to come back, but we are not asking people not to come back, it's your choice. But US has opportunities. We just want you to know that if you come in here as F1, J1 student, there are opportunities for you beyond F1, right? So we are going to be looking at employment-based immigration opportunities, EB1, EB2, H1B. And to take us on that, we have our boss, James Korocha. Please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Ikenna, I cannot be your boss. Isaac, I cannot be your boss. Ikenna too, I cannot be your boss. So
You are my boss.
yeah.
You know me and Ike, we don't like trouble. We are not PhD candidate. Ike, are we? No, we are just MSc students. So you are my boss.
I have a very short slide to share, but I will do some intro before the slide. There is a problem we have in Nigeria, which we consider JAPA. What that thing does to people is that it gives them the impression, move first, you will figure it out when you get there. It's not bad, but it's not the best. So it makes people begin to look for themselves in the middle of the journey. So what I would say is, the position you are now, your ticket is settled already, you're coming to the US. Sit down and ask yourself, how do I want to proceed with this journey post PhD or post MSc? What do I want to do? Knowledge of that will guide you as you go through the academic rigor of the PhD or the MSc. Now, something helped me so much when I came here. I tried to answer that question by myself in Nigeria. And then when I came here, within the first 1 month, I had a meeting with my advisor. And in that meeting, we discussed my career plan after the PhD. In that same meeting, we discussed courses that will lead me to that career plan. I mean, you know, coursework. Yeah. So we also discussed research area for my dissertation. The importance of this is to make sure that you are coming out to easily flush into what you want to go into. So you don't come out and still needing some training that you would have gotten while in class. So sit down and find out, what do I want post-PhD and what are the key ingredients that will help me achieve that? If you want to be a professor, you will know how to focus on being a teaching assistant and doing it with all the passion it requires. If you want to go to the industry, you will learn how to chase volunteer jobs and internships. Some people, because maybe your advisor has a huge grant and he asks you to be on the grant during the summer and do something in the lab or do whatever. It's not bad, but it will make a lot of sense if your advisor understands what the grant I have and I want you to work on is not in line with what you want to do after this study. Maybe it will guide them in allowing you go chase that thing that will prepare you for what you want to do. So this is just an intro. I'll share my slide now. Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or you should say something, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. As Isaac touched on it, the US immigration process has something called employment-based national interest waiver. It is a leeway given to those who have solid academic background and who are doing great things in areas the United States government consider valuable to them. Now, this thing is something that it is like a door into the next phase after this study. but it requires some technicalities. I will say to anybody, if you want to go through the employment-based process, it will lead you to a green card and subsequently to citizenship. It will take time, it will take rigor, but it is productive and it is something that will preserve your dignity. Some people are fine with being put through shit by a white girl or a black girl to get documentation. If you're fine with that, this is not for you. But if you want to, be able to have a voice and go through whatever you need to go through in honor and dignity, then you can listen. What I would suggest from my experience, I am on this journey now. So from my experience, what I will say is try and do what is possible to tie your research to economy, environment, defense, and economy, environment, defense, and health. Look for a way to tie your research to these 4 pillars: economy, environment, defense, and health. The US government, these are key areas that they will definitely focus on. Now, it is not cast on stone. It's not because you are doing literature and you think you cannot tie it to any of these. No, you can tie it. So what you need is to look for, there is a nexus, there is a connecting point that can say, okay, through literature, I can advance knowledge of awareness of environment. You have to, make your case, acceptable to the mind of those who are adjudicating these cases. What I'm trying to bring out is the fact that you can be doing, quote and unquote, the most mundane research, but it will still lead you to where you want to go. The country doesn't look at it from the place of, we don't need literature. What are we doing with literature? So you can actually make a case for yourself and you will get in the queue. Now, this is, like I wrote here, is a provision within the employment-based immigration laws that allows certain foreign nationals to obtain permanent residency without the need for a job offer or labor certification if their work is deemed to be of national interest to the United States. So, just as it says, just plainly as it is, this will require you reading up where are the areas the US government seems to be spending money on currently. Money on research, money on grants, money on whatever. Find those areas where there are visible problems, very visible problems. There is an example I usually give to people. If you come here to say you are looking for solution to malaria, it is a noble thing to do. It is fantastic. But is that an American problem? The answer doesn't seem to be yes to me. So it is a research that will be more of African focused. So it may not be very easy to make a case for it, but you can still make a case for it, depending on, how this thing will require some part of creative writing skills and all of that to, make it acceptable to whoever that is judging that case. So this employment-based category is there is EB1 to EB5, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5. Then it is separate from the H1B. The H1B is one where you need a job. You need the employer to file for you. So in that case, the employer will have to prove that there is nobody that has that skill that you have that can do that same job that you can do. Think about how easy that is to prove. But then there are contexts to it also. The way they prove it is usually through the adverts they send out and the applications they receive. It's not to say that if you count over 300 million Americans, you won't get anybody. But when they put up an advert, the applications they receive and they review them, you come out top. So maybe they might say, okay, out of the pool, you're the only one that has, what it takes. So they can go through that stress for you. Now, another thing, okay, let me leave that. So for the employment based, there is EB1 and EB2. Those two are the ones common among people in the academia, and then, F1 students. For the EB1, it is one that has greater, something wrong with my slide. I'm going to reshare. So for the EB1, it is one that has greater kind of requirements. So you need to prove to have extraordinary ability in science, arts, education, business. The proof of that is maybe you have an Olympic medal, a Pulitzer Prize, an Oscar, and Nobel Prize. So it also grants same, for people who are accomplished academia, researchers, and professors who are coming into the field with at least 3 years experience. Then there is also a requirement for such people. The proof of employment from a university that is capable of employing a minimum of 3 researchers. Also, multinational companies that are bringing you into senior level positions. The example I gave here is you're working with First Bank, but JP Morgan wants to take you. So it's easy, when they see that you've been on this journey, but an American company wants to bring you on that same journey to help them in what they are doing. It's looking a little more demanding compared to the EB2. But the beautiful thing is that there are no backlogs for this category at the moment. The process is when you apply, you submit a petition, when they approve it, it is called I-140. When they approve your I-140, you now have the next step of adjustment of status. I-785, I think. I can't remember the number.
Yeah.
So when they approve your I-140, the next stage is to go on adjustment of status. But the problem is there are queues on EB2. EB1 is current, so you can almost immediately start the process of adjustment of status. And after that, you get your green card. But then for EB2, which is less demanding compared to EB1, you will have to be in a queue. I think that queue got longer from COVID. So because of that queue, people go through the process and they still don't have it yet, despite being approved. They have to wait until the US Immigration Service, there is a certain number of visa approvals for the year, and I think their fiscal year begins in October. So they do that for the year, and the following year, you continue, watching the calendar until the bulletin, until it gets to the month in which you were approved. For countries like Nigeria, we are not fairly doing bad compared to India and China. So we are at around March 2023, I think so, using the priority date table. So what I'm saying in essence is just that EB1 is current and EB2 has a minor waiting time. Not minor, but has waiting time. So for the EB2, for the EB1, yes. If you meet any 3 of these categories, you qualify. Evidence of receipt of lesser nationally or internationally recognized award for excellence. Evidence of membership of association in the field in which demand outstanding achievement of their members. Publish material about your professional or major trade publication. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these one by one. But then, as you see all of them, the more, the easier. If you have just 3, it's not going to be the same with somebody who has 6 the petition and the power of conviction in the petition will be different because you are scrapping, but the other person is operating from a place of abundance. So they can easily, keep talking and keep writing and keep writing. It requires a whole lot of paperwork. You will need to show step-by-step process of how you intend to achieve these endeavors if you are approved. You will need to show that indeed this is important to the US. You will prove that by talking about, how the government has been making it a case of study, something they have spent money on, and how it may also, make America one of the leading countries in such areas. My research is electric vehicle focused. So it helped me in, writing my petition and all of that. So that is, if you want to work with the minimum, 3 is the minimum. But I'm saying it will make sense if you can do something that will give you a lot to write about. So the more, the better. For EB2, to qualify, you just prove evidence of advanced degree or 5 years post-bachelor's experience. Exceptional ability in science and arts also qualifies you for this category. So it's more like a lesser requirement compared to the EB1, but it has some, you have a waiting time where you have to stay in the queue, wait till it gets to your turn. Now, if you look down in the arrows, official academic record showing that you have a degree, letter from current or former employer documenting at least 10 years of full-time experience, license to practice your profession or certification, evidence that you have commanded a salary that is, membership of professional association, recognition of achievements, significant contribution to the industry, comparable evidence of eligibility is also acceptable. Now, if you look at all of these, it is easier. Instead of looking for one Nobel Prize or Oscar Prize that you use to prove. I want to also say that what I highlighted in EB1, when I say Olympic medal, Pulitzer, Oscar, it's not to say that these are the only things. It could be something that could be regional. Maybe it's not Oscar, it's not Nobel, it's not Olympic. It could be states. If you're in the state of Arizona and in the state of Arizona, you did something that took you on the top of the table, that is also acceptable here. You can use it to make a case. Like I said earlier, there is need for you to prove that you can really tell your story. The power of creative writing is something that comes to bear here easily. So if you look here, it is more of you have a master's degree or you have advanced degree in 5 years experience post-bachelor's. Then membership of professional body, which is easy to get as a student publication, that is possible. And then a lot of other things that can give you recognition and achievements. So this makes it easier for people to chase. But just that you have to stay in the queue. That's just what it is. So that is all I have to share in terms of slide. But I have to also add that everything I have said here is not all there is to it. There are aspects that I didn't capture. I didn't capture them because, there are things I can tell you orally. You will need to get dependent and independent recommendation letters. These are letters from people who have direct contact with you, who have worked with you, and people who have not worked with you. They don't know about you, but they've seen the result of what you have done. A good example of that is if you publish a paper and somebody from Afghanistan reads your paper and, cites that paper, you can contact that person and say, hey, I would love you to write a letter for me to strengthen my case on this. It is independent. So that is one thing. Another thing is, the more the letters, the easier the conviction. I use 5 letters in my case. Then, if you also have a writing style, if you want to do it yourself, that's what I mean. If you also have a writing style that you have structured already that will fit in a certain number of papers, that's fine. But I would suggest that 5 should be your minimum target. Then I will also say, in whatever you're doing, this is my own sentimental bias. In whatever you're doing, let a white skin speak for you. Don't quote me. I'm sorry I'm saying this on the record, but I think when somebody, it was Nelson Mandela that said, when you speak the language a man understands, you speak to his head. When you speak his language, you speak to his heart. So that is what I can say. If you have questions, it will direct me to say more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, James, for that wonderful presentation on EB1, EB2, national interest waiver, and other employment-based immigration opportunities in the US. The truth of the matter is, this is just a snip, the tips of an iceberg. When you come to the US, maybe some of you might not know, we are just introducing you to you. For those that are coming as Kempites, we will continue from there. For others, at least you are aware of it, you can build your network around it and start developing your profile from day one, knowing fully whether if your profile is robust enough, you stand to gain a lot from here. We actually have a meeting, like 4 of us have a meeting to catch up, and we try to wrap up. We will move into Q&A. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. There'll be a limited number of people I can actually take. All the other questions, please drop them on the chat box. I will plead with all the speakers. Let's check the chat box and be responding as much as possible so that we will close within the next few minutes. But it would be good if I can allow 2, 3 individuals to ask some of the questions they have directly. Raise your hand if you have any question, then the host should please unmute them if we have anybody. Any question? There are a whole lot of questions we asked in the Google form, but I believe we have done justice to many of them. Okay, James, when somebody starts this process of EB1, EB2, and it is not finalized yet, does it affect your visa renewal if you want to renew your visa along the line?
Okay. If you start the process, what that means is that you have a notification from USCIS that your petition has been received. I want to say that from that moment, you have shown immigration intent.
Good, thank you.
Now, because you have shown immigration intent, an F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa. It will now be a clash of requests. You are requesting to renew a non-immigrant visa, but you have immigration intent by that petition you submitted. So what I suggest is you have multiple entry in your 2 years visa. Go and come back as much as you want before you submit anything. If you do Dropbox, it is safer, but it doesn't guarantee approval. Some people have a different story, but I'm telling you the opinion of not me. I heard from an immigration attorney. You are just at the mercy of whatever visa officer thinks.
Yeah. Second question to you. How can you get a sample of EB2 petition or EB1 to use as a guide for your own?
Okay. That is an example of sharing intellectual property. It's not something I will suggest. But then if you contact maybe anybody within your field who has done that, the person can share something with you. Because everything you are going to see there, we could be doing the same research in the same lab, but we might be going separate directions.
All right, thank you. We try to make the answer very short. Francis. All right, you can talk now. I'll ask a question.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Okay, so my question is, during one of our
can you raise your voice a little more?
They said something about
raise your voice a little.
Okay, I said during one of our online rotation, they said something about doing a service that you're being paid for that is not allowed once you are an F1 student. So I don't know, some people doing like something like online gig. Is those one allowed in the US?
I am not sure this question is to me, but I will
It's not
say
to you. Online what?
Francis, can you repeat the question?
I think online work, when you come to the US, you cannot do any online work. Your social security, online gigs is not allowed. You have to be very careful. It means you are working. F1 students are not allowed to work off campus.
That is a simple answer.
That's just a simple answer. Any other questions? What are some tips you will give somebody, Rebecca, for someone who is coming to a graduate school? What are the tips for someone to be successful in graduate school?
Is the question to me?
No, Rebecca.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay. For someone coming to grad school from Nigeria, should I say the best tip I could give to the person is have a plan, right? What do you hope to achieve with the program you are coming to do? If the plan is to get a job after your master's program, put in efforts. I think one of the speakers said this, into applying for internships and getting internships. If the plan is to go for a PhD program, I would say put in your effort, do your research really well, get research on the courses that are required in the particular PhD program you hope to apply for.
All right,
So,
thank you.
yeah,
Then
just
we'll make
have
it short because we are moving to the next meeting.
sorry. So the best
Yeah.
tip is just have a plan and work hard, stick to the plan you have. Yeah.
All right, Judith, you took section on POE and travels. What are some of the questions that they can ask during POE? Is Judith still here? Dr. Tosi, can you please take that?
Yeah, you said the question like the questions they may ask at POE, right?
Yes.
They may just ask any random question. You don't know who is here. So they may just ask, where are you going to? And just tell them what's on your I-20, like nothing like the paper is in front of you. Just tell them what's on the paper, right? So, and speak freely, yeah.
They'll ask you, which school are you going? Don't forget the name of your school.
Don't forget the name of your school. Just look at your I-20 if you cannot remember the full name of your school.
Yeah, don't say Oklahoma State University when your school is University of Oklahoma. You need to know some little details. There's nothing to worry about. Don't, as far as you don't carry any contraband. All right. So how can you survive, James, with the little stipend they give somebody? What advice would you give somebody to live comfortably with their stipend?
Okay. American schools will not make you rich. What they are paying you, if you punch your calculator, what they are paying you is just to make sure you pay your rent, pay whatever you need to pay, and eat. They're not paying you something to send back home. So don't tell people at home that their Messiah is coming. Just try as much as possible to live within your means. I wanted to add something through this question. The use of credit card, it requires skill. It's not free money, but I'm not sure if we have that time.
You can do that.
Okay. Now, I wanted to say this. It's a credit economy. When I came new, I make sure I have the cash before I pay. But I notice before I buy with credit card, so that once it reflects, I go and pay immediately. But then I noticed it is not doing that, having the effect I expected to have on my credit score. The effect is that you're not owing, you've not missed any payments. But I noticed something, and later I got to find out they want you to have more credit cards. The tenure of the account affects it. In addition to that, try and keep some debt that is within 25% of the entire credit line. This is not a financial advice. This is what
All
I
right.
think works for me.
All right, thank
Make
you.
sure you don't use more than 25% as debt that is standing in that credit card. Thank you.
All right. Judith, can you talk now?
Yes, can you hear
This
me?
question, yes, this question on
Okay.
account opening in US and getting Social Security, can you respond to it?
Yes. So first thing is the social security number, which is important. But I think you need an address. You need to have a place where you stay. You need a phone number. The first two things you need to get first. You need to get a phone number. You need to get an address where you stay, and then you can apply for your social security number online. And for accounts, usually I don't know how it works for other states, but the banks that favor students, such as Chase Bank. So Chase Bank needs your SSN, so you need the social security number to even open an account. You can book an appointment online for the social security number. There's always appointments wherever you go in every corporate organization, and just follow the instructions. There's no really too much about it besides following the instructions.
All right, thank you. Then the person that is asking about renewal of visa, you've not entered, you're already asking about renewal, but it's fine. Maybe you are keeping your love at home and you want to go back and visit your babe, it's fine. What you need to do is you can renew when you come here in countries that are closer to US, like Canada, Mexico, Dominica, and the rest, so it must not be Nigeria, okay? Then someone is asking about the EB to EB1 of a thing. Yeah, if you're a PhD student, we advise people, since we know that EB2 is not current, if you have the qualification and you put it in before you graduate, by the time you are graduating with your PhD, hopefully by then you should be able to have your green card and not marry somebody because of paper, because they might mess up your life as a result. If you want to go for a lady or a guy to file paper for you, you can mess your life for that, okay? So how does the process of EB1 visa works? This is just a brief overview of what it is. Look it more online. If you need more details, we might have section on this later on, but right now, this is just the little information we can give. Maximum cash allowed, somebody said about that, is 10,000 USD. Don't go above that. All right. Somebody is asking, how do you navigate cost of living without funding opportunities? It's not really going to be easy, but loan might be one of them. If you have maybe a relative who is here in the US that can sign for you as a guarantor, because most of those loans will require you putting somebody who will sign for you. What is the name given to them? Is it guarantor? Yes, it's guarantor. If you want to collect Empower loan or the rest. But we advise people coming to the US to try their best to get funding, because it's not easy for you to come from Africa or anywhere in the world to study in the US without funding. All right. Change of flight, co-signer. Yes, thank you. Co-signer is a language. So somebody will be a co-signer for you. All right. So this is how much questions we can take right now. Can we use the reaction button, send love emoji to all the speakers for today? If you benefit anything from the section, just give them thumbs up. I just want to say thank you to all our wonderful speakers. We have stayed here for 2 hours, so we have to bring the session to a close. Is Dr. Casey here to give vote of thanks? Then we'll wrap it up.
Yes. So can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic session. Great materials. Really big thank you to, of course, the co-host Isaac and Ikenna. Great moderating. Thanks to all the panelists. Thanks to James, to Judith, to Tosin, to Wisdom, to Rebecca. You guys rock it as usual. So I really appreciate that. And I think this is great content. We have a record that we can now share to those that registered for this event. Even though we had about 50% of them attending, but I think we should be able to have this now in record that those that couldn't join can watch it. So thank you guys and have a wonderful evening.
All right.
We're all a work in progress. Bye-bye.
Yeah.